Hi, I'm Monica.
And I'm Jamie, and today we are teaming up to teach you a perfect recipe to fix a healthy one-pan meal.
For this cooking class, we'll be making crispy chicken thighs and vegetables. This recipe is full of flavor and nutritionally well-balanced dish. It has a protein, carb, and color. Perfection.
So let's get started. These are some of the ingredients we're going to use today.
The ingredients we're using will provide 4 servings. You can easily half or double to meet your family's needs. The ingredients are 4 bone-in chicken thighs.
We have 12 ounces of Brussels sprouts, or about like 10 to 15 of them. These are high in vitamin C, which helps our immune system so we can fight off sicknesses.
And 2 large potatoes. We are leaving the skin on because it's high in fiber, which is needed for a healthy digestive system.
And for the seasoning, we have 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1.5 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of salt, which is optional, and a half teaspoon of black pepper.
The kitchen tools we need are cutting board, knife, sheet pan, a rack, foil, 2 large bowls, a small bowl, a food thermometer, and your oven preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit.
Before you get started, you want to make sure that all of the countertops and utensils are clean and sanitized. Don't forget to wash your hands.
This will prevent the spread of germs and will help keep your food and family safe. Since we're using a lot of produce, you'll want to make sure all of that has been washed and washed well.
To begin, we are going to mix our seasoning in a small bowl. We're going to add all the seasonings and stir to combine.
After the produce has been washed, we're going to cut the Brussels sprouts in half and place them in a large bowl. And then we're going to cut the potatoes into about 1-inch cubes. Like we said earlier, leave the skin on since it provides extra fiber. And then we'll also add those to the large bowl with the Brussels sprouts. Okay, so now we're going to begin cutting the potato. So what you want to do is cut it in half. And then cut it down the middle again. And then make a couple cuts into about 1-inch cubes and place them in the bowl.
Okay, and while she's doing that again, I am going to start our Brussels sprouts. So you're going to cut off the end, and then you're going to cut them lengthwise. Okay, just like that.
And we got all our seasonings in our bowl here. And you just want to give it a stir to combine everything. Okay, and we have 1 tablespoon of olive oil measured out already, and we will drizzle that over the vegetables. And then we're going to take 1 tablespoon of the seasoning mixture and sprinkle that over all the veggies. And then stir to combine.
Okay, Monica set that aside because that's what we're going to use. The rest of it we're going to use on the chicken.
Okay, and we're going to stir to combine and make sure everything is evenly coated.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the chicken thighs. So we already started by patting the chicken thighs dry with a paper towel. Okay, that's just going to allow the seasonings to stick to it a lot better and not run off, okay? So we already placed it into a large bowl. And now we're going to coat the chicken thighs with 2 tablespoons of olive oil and the remaining of the seasoning. I think one thing to remember about cooking is that it doesn't always have to be perfect, right? I think people strive for perfection, but that's really hard to do. But I think as long as you do it with love, it's all that matters. So Monica's just evenly coating it the best that she can. She's doing an excellent job. and it smells fantastic. And I know raw chicken doesn't usually smell good, but this seasoning. One thing to note about this seasoning is that it is lower in sodium, right? But we're still getting a lot of flavor because of all those extra spices, right? So we have that thyme, that oregano, and that paprika. So, and the black pepper if you like that spice, right? So side note, you can actually season the chicken and the vegetables on the sheet pan if you want to avoid using more dishes. We know that's extra time, right? And some of us don't have that. So we are using the bowls to evenly distribute the oil and the seasoning.
Okay, now we're going to place the fully seasoned chicken thighs on the sheet pan.
So anytime that you handle any type of raw meat, you want to make sure that you are washing your hands with soap and water immediately afterwards before you touch anything else in your kitchen, especially like vegetables or fruit or things like that that you're going to consume right after. Okay, now we're going to distribute the vegetables around the chicken thighs on the sheet pan. We're going to bake in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes until the internal temperature reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we're going to use a thermometer for that. You can find some pretty affordable ones between like $5 and $10 at the store. And it's a really good way to keep your family safe. Okay, so we highly recommend using a food thermometer to measure the internal temperatures of any type of meat that you are preparing for your family. Whenever you do remove the chicken from the oven when it's done, you're going to let it rest for about 5 minutes before serving. And as you can see, Monica has done a great job of distributing it evenly around the pan, and she's even been able to put a few things in between the chicken thighs here. And it has beautiful color, right? We have everything that we need. It's a very balanced meal. We have our protein, we have our carbohydrates and our potatoes, and then we have our vegetable, which also gives us that beautiful green color.
So now we're going to place this in the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook it for about 35 to 40 minutes until it reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So we've removed the chicken from the oven, checked the temperature, made sure it was at 165 degrees, and we went ahead and plated it, and this is the final product.
The final product makes for a healthy, balanced meal with minimal cleanup, perfect for a busy weekday. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining us today.
For more delicious, nutritious recipes, be sure to like and subscribe to the link below to follow RHN WIC.
Ta-da!